What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Lobbing Scorchers. We are recording this on Thursday morning, just after the Seattle Sounders played the Colorado Rapids midweek at Lumen Field in match day 25. And Noah, we've got a lot to talk about on this show. The Sounders are making history right now. They are on a truly unprecedented pace, and not in a good way. We're going to talk about that and more as we also look ahead to what's going to be a match day 26 weekend matchup with the San Jose Earthquakes, also at Lumen Field. Noah, we haven't laid one of these down in like a week or so. How are you doing?
I'm all right, Ari. It's it's always good to see you. We're not in person today, but the reason for that is that the content must come first. And this game was such a match that happened that we had to jump on the cans and just let it rip. So I feel good. I thought last night was fun, all things considered, because of the throwback kit. Like that was like super sick.
Great.
It looked great, but listen, last night's match was some content, so let's just get into it.
And it's really the last two matches.
Yeah, true. We didn't hit that.
Both of them in because as some of you may have noticed, there's been a bit of a recurring theme over the last couple matches, but really the last like 5 or 6 matches, if you want to get technical about it. So don't worry, we're gonna dive into all that discourse. We're gonna hit our agenda check. We got a couple of news items to hit, and we've got some other results from around the league to break down at the end. So a lot to get to. But before we do all that, I do have to let you all know that Lobbing Scorchers is a part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. If you want to get the best independent Seattle soccer coverage, consider supporting us by going to sounderatheart.com/ls. No, what's that link?
sounderatheart.com/ls.
All you got to do is scroll down to subscribe and support to get 30 days completely free. Every sign up through our link helps support and grow this show. Are we still on the road to 100 Sounder at Heart subs?
Yeah, we still are, but we did rack. We did rack a couple.
We racked a few. Where the road to 100 is slowly but surely getting there, and now more than ever, it is a great time to become a member with the season in full swing. Subs get access to Lobbing Scorchers Under the Lights audio versions right to your podcast feed. Lobbing Scorchers Kickoff is now on the main podcast feed, which is exciting news. So if you ever want to listen to that in your car or throw that audio on, that is on our main feed now. Shout out to our sponsors, Hacks and Ferments, Podium Menswear, Full Pull Wines, My Data Removal. Sub to our YouTube.
Yep.
Follow us on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Follow us on
join the Grandma Bot Brigade.
TikTok. Yeah, join the Grandma Bot Brigade, where you have summited 1K on Instagram, but we're on the road there on TikTok. Our TikTok's heating up. So go ahead and if you have not yet, give us a follow on all those platforms. We do have one more new thing to plug regarding Seattle's new Orca kit, which just dropped, which, we're going to talk about some of the negatives, but the new kits, Seattle's look fantastic, but really, I thought everyone pretty much cooked here.
Basically,
there wasn't really. There's maybe a couple where I was lukewarm on, but for the most part, I was like, these are all fire. The San Jose Clash one, incredible. Mm-hmm. The Dallas Burn one was incredible. The Minnesota one, which I think you are you rocking it right now, or is that?
I am rocking a Minnesota Kicks T-shirt. This is actually from the 70s. This was in honor of Throwback Week. I had to put this on, but this is basically they did the Minnesota Kicks.
Oh, it's thing. So good.
It's so like good. My favorite NASL branding, like the colors, everything.
No, these
Adidas killed it.
These archive kits were all great, and this new Orca one that Seattle put out, I was thinking, man, like I think this is my favorite. I'm not a big kit guy. Like I know kit discourse among soccer fans is like way hotter than I typically wade into. I don't really care that much about
famously the fashion guy.
Yeah, not really the fashion guy, but these Orca kits that Seattle put out, I think are my favorite kits they've dropped since the my all-time favorites, which were the black and like neon green ones in 2014.
Yeah,
like I don't think I've had they've had some really good ones like the Jimi Hendrix, Bruce Lee. They've had a good run, but these are my favorites since those black ones.
They're so good, man. And like the whole collection is crazy good. The anthem jackets, the shoes they put out, like I said it online, but man, like this is a generational run by MLS. Like we've seen some pretty bad kits in the past where it was everyone had a white kit, everyone had a solid colored other kit. Adidas has stepped it up, folks. I mean, this is This is generational. So if you want to go and you want to buy some of these kits, any of them, I bought 3, Ari. I spent my entire cut of the Lobbing Scorchers salary that I receive, which is not that much, but if you buy some more kits, it might be more. On 3, I got the Clash, the Minnesota United, and the Sounders one. And guess who I got on the back of the Sounders one, Ari?
Would that be Paul Rothrock?
It'd be Paul Rothrock. It would be Paul Rothrock. So, but anyway, if you want to get any kit from the collection at all and also support the show, you literally don't even have to pay more money or anything. You just go lobbingscorchers.com/archive and it'll take you right there to all the kits, all the archive collection. We get a kickback. You get a cool kit. And if you have other discount codes and stuff, you can add them on top of that. So pretty sweet, Ari.
Lobbingscorchers.com/archive.
Lobbingscorchers.com/archive.
All right, Noah. Enough introing. Let's just get into the discourse because, like I said, there's a lot to get to with this team right now. And I'm just going to set the stage. I'm going to set the stage for what we have witnessed the last 2 games because it's kind of incredible how common of threads we've seen across these last 2 games, down to like what the score lines were, but also how they got to that point. As we sit today, Seattle Sounders last 2 matches, the first one at Sporting KC, a 3-2 victory, and a 3-3 draw versus the Colorado Rapids last night. We've seen the Sounders come out of the locker room after kickoff and really play as good of attacking footy as they've played all season. I think the first half in each of these 2 games was, this is the funny thing, it's some of the best they've looked all year. Easily. Like, it's not even debatable. I would say that the Sporting KC first half was 100% the best they've looked in a road match all year. And then it carried over to the first half of the Colorado game where they in both of these games they go up at Sporting KC they went up 2-0 or 3-0 in the first half. The Colorado game they go up 2-0 in the first half and then add the third like very early in the second half if I'm not mistaken. And then from there in both of these matches do their absolute level best to blow the lead. They tried their hardest at Sporting KC to blow the lead. Couldn't quite do it. They end up winning that 3-0. And then this Colorado game, they do blow the lead. They blow a 3-0 lead at home, end up dropping 2 points against the Colorado Rapids. And as part of these second half debacles, two of them in a row now, you have Nuhu getting one of the craziest red cards we've ever seen from a Sounders player.
Incredible
in
crash
Kansas
out.
City. I don't know if you saw this. Nuhu actually made international headlines for this. This got picked up by like British tabloids. Footballer throws ball at fans and gives middle finger to referee, which apparently he was demonstrating to the referee that
allegedly flipped off the referee.
I think if I watched the clip and that explanation does make sense, but it doesn't. I don't think that really assuages the situation.
It's not. It's still not smart.
It's still not something that.
What are we doing here?
So you have that, which almost costs them the win at the Sporting KC game, and then of course came out yesterday, I believe, that Nuhu has gotten suspended an additional game on top of his red card suspension, so he'll be out on the weekend as well. I thought he got off a little easy, frankly. They could have justified 2 or 3 games additionally if they wanted to on top. If they had given him a couple more games, I wouldn't have really argued with it just because of the extent of the of the meltdown. And also, like, I feel like anytime there's that boundary between player and fan that gets violated and you have a player that's throwing stuff into the stands or something like that, that's where it gets into territory where they can hit you with an additional suspension, but they didn't. He only gets the 1 game extra. So, I mean, I guess real quick, did you have any thoughts on the outcome of that suspension?
Well, as a fan who consistently chirps Nuhu in podcast form and online, I do think that fans who chirp Nuhu should be protected by the league. It is our God-given right to crash out about that individual player. And I do, as a part of the anti-Nuhu brigade. I am, in fact, we are a union, and we were collectively bargaining and arguing against the league that it should have been more time and a higher fine. And no, but all like seriousness wise, what is he doing? I mean, we talked about it after the game. If you watched the reaction show with Jeremiah, basically he wasn't even involved in the foul. He wasn't even involved in like in anything. He just like started going over. And Brian said apparently like there might have not even been anything said to him. Like that it was basically
the provocation, as I understand it, was that the fan flipped him off, which is like that's par for the course. Like,
like, brother, you play professional soccer. You've got to assume that
part of
that's
the job
happen.
is
Also, it's Sporting Kansas City. Do we not remember Jordan Morris scoring his like fourth goal there, going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then in the background, all you see is people just flipping him, like just the whole crowd flipping him off.
No, I mean,
I don't get it.
Part of the job is getting heckled and ignoring it. That's like what you have to do. So
or playing into it. Don't throw a ball at someone.
Yeah, definitely not smart decision making there. I did think Schmetz's response to some of there was a funny quote he had, I thought, where he was getting grilled about it at training, and he was like, well, to my memory, this is the first time that he's ever like thrown a ball in the stands and then flipped off the ref, or demonstrated a flip off to the ref. And it's like, okay, yes, technically it is the first time that he has made international headlines by throwing a ball into the stands and then flipping off the ref. That is true. He has never done that before. However, I think you could argue pretty credibly that there is a pattern that extends beyond this particular incident, including one like 2 weeks earlier in Vancouver, where he got a red card on just a very about as ill-advised a foul as you're ever going to see. So I would not necessarily dub it an isolated incident. But
Your Honor, my client only killed. This is the first time he's killed someone. Your Honor, he hasn't done it before.
I didn't know about. I mean, I get it. Like, Schmetz has to balance, disciplining the players and talking to them behind the scenes or whatever.
I know he gave it to Nuhu, man.
He has to protect them publicly.
Yeah,
but it was still a funny
as
quote.
You would want your coach to do. Like, I don't want Brian to come out and throw Nuhu under the bus as much as I think that what he did was absolutely diabolical and silly. I don't want my coach to be like doing that to my players. That's how you lose a locker room, regardless of how you feel about Nuhu, regardless of how you feel about like the situation. Like, you want your coach to still stand up for his players, because he was basically as publicly disappointed in him as I've ever seen him in anyone. He was like, we're going to handle this internally. Trust me. And that's he was fined by the league and suspended by the league, but that's not even taking into account what the Sounders might internally choose to do on top of that.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'll say about that as it relates to this last game against Colorado, which is that I'm glad that Nuhu was not playing in this Colorado game, because if he had been, people would have found some way to make this whole situation about Nuhu, and it is about Nuhu to an extent. But this is about everyone right now, in my opinion. Nuhu has had the crazy red card, two crazy red cards, one in Vancouver, one at Sporting Kansas City. But let's just go through the track record in these last 5-6 games, because, like I said at the top of the show, this is a historic pace right now.
Yeah, they're microdosing the red card wedding right now.
I'm
like
dead
they're
serious.
microdosing.
Like
it.
I follow the whole league a lot. In addition to Seattle, I have a select group of teams that I follow, not as closely as Seattle, but I follow pretty close. I've never seen a run like this. I've never seen it. This is unprecedented. Let's just break it down. After a sequence last night at Lumen Field against the Colorado Rapids, where they got they gave up 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes, I think. Yeah. 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes with a 3-0 lead, which is not what you want.
No.
They have now accrued 5 red cards and conceded 6 penalties in their last 5 games. And the first thing I want to say about this is that, after the Sporting KC game, we were doing our post-game show, and we were talking about how that ending was not good.
Not a vibe.
It was not a vibe. And we were kind of joking around like they shouldn't be singing Jingle Bells. The
Jingle Bells video was a little bit sad.
Half-hearted Jingle Bells. So we joke, but we had some people in chat saying like, you guys are crashing out over a win. A win is a win. Like, doesn't really matter. Who cares? This is why it matters. Because yes, in that situation at Sporting KC, they got away with it. They ended up winning the game anyway. But our point at the time was that if you continue on a path like this, where you're having these lapses in discipline, you're getting red cards and you're conceding penalties by the boatload every single week, that is going to catch up to you, and you are going to drop points. And if you're on a pace of 5 red cards and 6 PKs in a 5-game span, or anything close to that, you're not going to win anything of consequence, because when you play against good teams, you're not going to get away with that stuff. And it's not like the Colorado Rapids are all that incredible this year, but if you spot them 2 PKs in 3 minutes, all it takes is one other goal, and then you drop the points, and that's exactly what happened.
Well,
so
when you
that's why this stuff, like the pattern of this stuff is, even though they've been taking the results, it's not sustainable. And I think it brings up the topic of discussion that I wanted to hit with you here this morning first, which is like, does this team have a discipline problem right now? 5 red cards, 6 PKs in their last 5 games. Schmetzer was downplaying that notion at his presser last night. He was saying, look, when I look at these, it's not really a pattern of one type of thing, one type of player. It's all different kinds of players. You have the KKR. I'm paraphrasing, but I think this is sort of what he's getting at. The KKR and RBW and NDT incidents are like young guys who are either trying to make plays or not like thinking it through fully in the moment. The Nuhu ones, you have a guy crashing out twice in a row, which there is disciplinary patterns with Nuhu dating back to last year. That's one thing I might disagree with Schmetz on. But Nuhu also historically, I don't think he is like a repeat red card offender consistently. If you look at his track record through his whole career, he got the one in Vancouver last year, but that was like a handball one. That wasn't a crash out. Yeah. And then you have these. So I think he's trying to kind of frame it like even these crash outs are a little out of character for Nuhu if you go back through his whole career. And then you have the Jay Bell one, which I think that's one that you could argue he got a little unlucky. So Schmetz is saying that this is not necessarily like a team-wide discipline issue. It's just isolated incidents that you have to handle individually, and then hopefully they'll stop happening, which, okay, but like this is happening every game right now. And it's led to, 5 red cards and 6 PKs conceded. That's 11 instances in 5 games of shooting yourself in the foot. And in this situation in Colorado, you drop 2 points when you're dogfighting for that top 4 spot in the West. That's and you had a lot of other results go your way last night. We're going to talk about that later.
But if they win that game, they're above LAFC in the table.
Yes, and just outside of that, anytime you were up 3-0 in any given game, that game has to be dusted. That's it. Yeah. Like, you have to be able to see out a 3-goal lead in the second half, especially at home. But even the Sporting KC game where they let him back into it, that's you can't have 2 scenarios in a row where you give up 3 goals and then you almost blow the lead. So before we get into our next topic, what do you make of this? Do you think there's a discipline issue going on right now, or do you lean more towards what Schmetz is saying and that this is isolated stuff that can be corrected?
I think it's a mixed bag. Like, I do kind of tend to agree with Schmetzer that it's a little bit hard to point a finger at a specific like thing that's going wrong. If it was all melting down and like they were incredibly silly fouls, then it's like, yeah, okay, you have a discipline issue. You have a team who's playing scared, or they're playing frustrated, or they're playing one way or the other. But the reality is that doesn't seem to be what it's like. Like RBW gets sent off on a second yellow for trying to make a play and keep a result. Same thing with
KKR.
With KKR. Same thing with Andrew Thomas, right? You just concede a penalty. They are surging. I mean, they were surging at that point. You're just going out to try and make a play. You're trying to keep yourself in the game. And I talked to him after, and he was very disappointed in himself that he gave that up, and he felt a little hard done by it as well. He felt like he got the ball and was like, "Hey, I got to rewatch it," but like, I felt like I got a little hard done there. Like, I was like, "Yeah, he sold it a little bit, but like,
he might have got a little hard done, but he shouldn't have come off his line."
Sure, yeah, like, I mean, the striker's gonna take that every time. You know what I mean? Like, if he flops down like he did, he's gonna win that foul, especially when you have momentum and you're surging. But what I have to say is, like, the Nuhu red cards in both instances, you are a veteran player. He has been playing here basically, he's the third longest tenured player or something like that, third or fourth. You absolutely cannot be making a mistake like you made in Vancouver. We were both there. We watched it. We were like, why in the world are you doing that? That is frustration.
It was a horse collar. It was 15 yards automatic first down.
Yes, brother. You got the flag. The refs threw the yellow flag, okay? Like, it was on the, like, I cannot even imagine why in the world and how in the world you would get so frustrated to the point where that's what you chose to do as a defender. You can't do that, man. You can't. That is losing your head. Absolutely. And, I was like, all right, whatever. Classic Nuhu, fine enough. And then the Atletico Madrid thing happens where Botafogo, I'm sorry, where he's getting in a fist fight off the ball for no fucking reason. Like, and then on top of that, after that, he is absolutely crashing out and throwing a ball at the fan. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable. That you are showing, that is a pattern. That is a pattern that you can't fix with coaching. Everything else is a pattern you can fix with coaching. And so for me, when I look at it, listen, I've been hard on Nuhu. I've praised Nuhu this year. I think he basically had a run where I was like, no wonder he's on this team. No wonder no one can replace him. Like, he's playing incredibly well.
He was actually playing.
He was playing
good
well
in the Sporting KC game. He was fine. He wasn't doing anything like crazy.
But it's like, that's the problem, is when you're always on tilt for something like that to happen. Not worth it. Not worth it for me. Not worth it for me. And honestly, these and not to be like reactionary, but after these three incidents, it's like, I think that the team should really look long and hard and think about what his future is with the club, because he's clearly, like, that's just three instances in a row of match-changing decisions from him, who's supposed to be a veteran leader on your back line. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable for any team across the board. And I would say that, for anyone. And so I'm not going to pull the punches about it, because, like, that's ridiculous. And everything that he keeps doing it's to his own detriment. There's no need to do it. And like, there is no one who can help him but himself. And so I don't know what to say, because I have been kind, I have been harsh, and now I think it's just time to look at the reality of, like, as a defender, you kind of have to have some poise. He doesn't bring anything as a wingback. You have a young player in Reed Baker-Whiting who, I'm going to be honest with you, I think has a way higher ceiling and can develop as a defender just as good as Nuhu. I don't know. It's food for thought. I think that that's unacceptable, and the rest of these kind of fouls can be coached. But this stuff, that's up to Nuhu to decide what he wants to actually do.
Yeah, as far as Nuhu goes, we'll see what Schmetzer and the coaching staff, like, how they handle it, to what extent he has to re-earn his role.
Oh, he'll probably play again. They love him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to be exiled. I don't think he's going to be exiled from the team. I would be surprised if there's not some sort of protocol he has to go through to, like, re-earn his normal role, but maybe not. we're going to find out. But if stuff like this continues from Nuhu and everyone else, I mean, you're saying like that it's stuff that's coachable, but it's also a pattern like for
I'll
a
tell
lot
you,
of
I'll
the
say
other
this. Let me say
defenders
this
on the
too.
team.
Let me say this too.
And not just with the red cards.
The back line
giving
has
up
been
the penalties.
Yeah, but the back line has been in shambles. The back line has been a huge rotation, a huge like plug and play, mix and match kind of situation where you were missing Kim Keehee, you were missing Yamar, you were missing Jackson Reagan, and then your wing backs were kind of just like moving around and rotating. The RBW one is so unlucky. He doesn't need to do it, but he's inexperienced in that situation. And that's something that you can coach. That's something you can coach. That's the patience you can coach. We were talking about it yesterday with Christian Roldan. He was running on a yellow and we were watching the way that he was playing. And it's like that is the experience, right? Same thing with KKR, man. Like, the last level of soccer that he was playing was next pro and then college. And let me tell you something, you could punch someone in the face in college and not get a yellow card. So it's learning about the level. It's learning about the patience. It's learning about how to play on a yellow. You only get so many opportunities to play on a yellow, so it's like you have to know how to switch that off and change your game. I don't think those things can't be grown into. It's the attitude stuff that you can't change. You can't have a coach be like, okay, when you get a yellow, think about this, think about that, or I'm going to shift your positions and all of this kind of stuff. Like, you can take someone off when they're on a yellow. You can't take someone off when they pick up a ball and throw it at someone's face in the crowd.
No, you can't.
So
I mean, we'll see. Like I said earlier, to Schmetz's point that this is like a recent thing, more of the career-long thing. I don't think that's necessarily
I don't
true.
agree with that.
Like, yeah, we talked about the disciplinary issues he had last year with when he and Rui Diaz had the locker room crash out. There was the Uber situation in DC, which that one's not like that big a deal to me in isolation, but like you combine it with everything else that's happened, it's just like another thing. So that, I mean, the Nuhu situation is one that they're going to have to figure out on its own, but the overall pattern of shooting yourself in the foot, and for now you're unbeaten in 4 somehow in this run of 5 games where
only lost 2 with all the red cards and
6 PKs. But like if it keeps going like this, you're not going to keep taking results. They're fortunate that they've taken the results. That they're fortunate that they won the Sporting KC game, and they're fortunate that they didn't lose the Colorado game. You could argue they deserved to lose the Colorado game based on how that second half went. And I'm not going to say they deserve to lose in Kansas City. That was a good road win at the end of the day, and they earned that win. But I will say, if they had lost that game, I wouldn't have said it was undeserved based on how that went. So it's just what's happening in these second halves, especially these last couple weeks. It's not sustainable, and it's. I was going to get into it a little more in the agenda check, but it's doubly frustrating because, like we were talking about, the offense in the first half, the last 2 weeks has been fantastic. Like, I have no notes really for either of those performances. Jesus Ferreira, let's save that for the agenda check, but he scored a goal in Sporting KC, and I thought he looked good again last night, and just generally looks like he's fitting in with this team and attack a lot more. Jordan Morris scored a goal in his return at Sporting KC. Didn't have as good a substitute shift last night, but the fact that he's already back on the score sheet and just how he looked in that KC game, that's great news. And Albert Rusnák has been fantastic. He was incredible last night. 2 goals and an assist. Sharp, dangerous the whole first half. Scores that open netter, which, despite some of the talking points out there,
it does
in fact count.
It does count.
That I was already.
We
don't need to.
Zach
we don't.
Steffen, he's bad. It doesn't count. Ari Zach Steffen, you can't.
World's
worst goalkeeper.
We don't need to turn this into like us bantering with the brigade thing. We've done enough of that over the last year. I think it's played out. But I will say it was funny.
The numbers don't lie. Numbers on the board.
That's what I'm saying. Like the Rusnák stuff at this point, the mental gymnastics have gotten laughable.
Yeah, but Ari, he's
like
lazy. You don't understand.
Like the argument, as I understand it at this point for a while, dating back to last season, but now especially this season, you can't argue with the stat sheet production anymore because it just is what it is. So the argument comes down to like, well, the stats are fake, and because I have superior ball knowledge, I can see why the stats are fake, and casual fans and national pundits can't see that because I'm a superior intellectual. I mean, he has 16 goal contributions this year. He's on pace to push 30 again, like he did last year. There's got to be a threshold where, like, at what point is the threshold where the stats aren't fake?
Well,
because there's got to be one. You can't just keep doing this.
It's not just stats. He's putting the ball in the back of the net. It's it's the undeniable stats. It's the ones and zeros. Like, you can't, and it's even the eye test. Like, I don't.
Oh, he looked.
If you're not watching the game,
he looked like one of the best players in MLS last night. Which is
what he was and is. Yeah,
and it's getting recognized nationally. You got Apple TV talking about him as a dark horse MVP candidate.
Yeah, well, don't say dark horse. Ari.
Well, so the broadcasters were talking last night about just genuine MVP candidate. So I mean, I don't know if you're still on this stuff. It is literally it's comedic. It's actually it's a good bit. It's a good bit. Keep doing it, but you should understand that this is entirely mental gymnastics. It's not bared out by anything statistically or, frankly, results wise when he's playing at this level. I know they dropped the points last night, but like that definitely wasn't his fault. And the open netter was I know people are saying that goal didn't count because of Zach Steffen and it was an open net or whatever. You know why that goal happens is because Jesus Ferreira was pressing Zach Steffen, forced him into that mistake. And then Albert Rusnák, I think the thing you have to realize is that
Jackson Reagan assist on that, by the way.
This is the last thing I'll say on the Rusnák thing. And this is why the it doesn't count thing is silly. Like if you're on the it doesn't count thing because it was on an open net, I just want you to think to yourself what you would be saying if he had missed that shot. What would you be saying? You would be skewering him. You would be skewering him if he missed that shot. And you know that's the case. And if that is the case, then if he makes that shot, it counts and you have to get him credit. Give him credit. That's it. That is the end of that discussion. They're like, these things are subjective sometimes. This is not
unsubjective.
Like, you are provenly wrong statistically. So anyway, I went longer on that than I intended to.
Look at the numbers. The XG.
But it's frustrating because you are playing so well on offense right now. 6 goals in your last 2 games. You can't really ask for much better output than that, especially because of how they come out in these games. They jump right on top. They jump right on top of Sporting KC, jump right on top of Colorado. They get 3 goals in the first half at KC and then 3 goals in the first 45, 50 minutes, right, against Colorado. But like that's what makes last night's meltdown even more tilting, is that you did so much good work. You played so well. You were banging in goals. You've been banging in goals. The attack looks incredible. Like just see it out. Don't give up 2 penalty kicks in 3 minutes. Don't get international headline making red cards where you throw the ball in the stands and get ejected and suspended for 2 games. I guess that's sort of a positive, is that theoretically, if you just stop doing dumb shit like that, you'll be able to win these games instead of either putting yourself in danger of mortal danger of blowing it like you did in Kansas City, or actually blowing it like you did against Colorado. So we're going to hit some lineup discourse and our agenda check. But Noah, any last thoughts on this whole discipline situation before we hit the ad break?
How long until we get sent off in the press box? Can we get a red card in the PB? Is that possible?
It definitely is possible.
Okay, so we'll keep you updated on if we can keep our composure.
0 red cards for us in the last 2 games.
Yeah, I don't get sent off. I stay on the field. And just like staying on the field, you should stay tuned while these ads play.
That's what I was getting to.
and we'll be right back.
There was nothing quite like a match day in Seattle. The flags waving, the drums pounding, the crowd surging as the team takes the pitch at Lumen Field. You want to be there. I want to be there. So how do you get there? By visiting lobbingscorchers.com/tickets, you'll be taken directly to Ticketmaster, where you can buy tickets directly from the club themselves. You don't have to worry about a secondhand marketplace or any of that weirdness. Just tickets, super simple, right to your phone. lobbingscorchers.com/tickets.
All right. Before we hit this agenda check, Noah, let's do some brief lineup discourse because
and if you skip the ads, we know.
Don't skip the ads. I think there was talk. Nico and I were talking about it on Lobbing Scorchers kickoff. Should Schmetzer rotate for this game with it being a 3-match week? And do we think he's going to rotate? We did our little projected lineup, which was absolutely incorrect. I think I should have built it differently. I should have built it as like how we would handle it, not what we thought Schmetzer was going to do, because we put our completely rotated, like Ryan Kent, Pedro de la Vega, Danny Leyva, KKR, RBW starting 11 out there. Looking back on it, Schmetz doesn't really do that very often, like a fully rotated lineup like that. If he's got his first choice starting 11 in relative good health, even if it's on short rest, I feel like his normal pattern is to just keep riding it. And that's what he did in this game. There was not really much rotation. Moose started for Jordan, but the Christian and Obed double pivot was out there. Ymar was back, so that was freaking awesome. He looked, oh my god, he looked good.
Yeah, he looked out of his mind.
He looked so good. He was, you could tell how hyped he was to be back out there. But he subs off at half. But this was more or less like the first choice 11. Even the guys who just played on the weekend at Sporting Kansas City. So I think the question is, do we think that this lineup should have been rotated more, considering the fixture congestion and heavy legs that we were witnessing in Kansas City? And I think that we saw a little bit last night. I think you could argue one of those PKs, the one that Christian gave up, that's like pretty out of character for him. And the guy has played 1,200 minutes in the last like 20 days. So you could argue maybe he shouldn't have been on the field at that point. But let's talk about this through two lenses. Should this starting 11 have been rotated more, and then should the subs have come earlier? For my part, I will say that on the topic of should they have rotated the starting 11 more, I was saying yes before the game, and I was saying yes when I saw the starting 11 graphic come out. But I mean, I think you have to acknowledge it did work. The team looked incredible in the first half, and my kind of criteria for if it was a successful thing to do would be like, all right, I mean, if you're going to run it back again with a lot of these guys on short rest, they got to be playing up to their level. Like, they can't look tired, and they got to be able to play good attacking footy, get on top of them like they are, like they're the home team, which they are, and score some goals. And they did do that. So from that standpoint, like, I do think you have to acknowledge that running the starting 11 back worked. But where I think I start to question it is, like, honestly, there's nothing wrong. He subbed Kim Ki-hee at halftime because Ymar was on a minutes restriction, I imagine. But if you go up, I guess you're up 2-0. As soon as you go up 3-0, I think you can start like the process of getting Christian out of there, getting Rusnák out of there, giving him some rest, getting Ferreira out of there at 3-0 before. And like, it's tough because those PKs both arrived right after Rusnák scored the third goal. And I think at that point, the calculation changed because it's like, well, this is a game now, and I can't empty the bench like that. But it's like just right after he scores, I think that's where I go back and I'm like, if you had done that differently, maybe you wouldn't have seen some of the heavy-legged kind of mistakes and fatigue and just frustration that we saw in the second half. You could tell there was like 2 or 3 yellows for dissent in this game. I think Jesus Ferreira, Christian, and Jackson Reagan all got yellows for dissent. There might have been even more. So maybe that could have been avoided with earlier subs. But I mean, what did you think? Do you think that the 11 should have been rotated? And what did you think of the subs?
I mean, I think either can work. Like I understand and respect the calculus by Brian for being like Colorado's probably going to roll out their best 11 because they want to get a result on the road. I understand that. I respect that. But also at the same time, and he really pushed back on this in the post-game presser, especially from Nico. And Nico asked him basically the same question 3 times about his substitutions and like how he kind of just like, it didn't seem like he had any urgency to get players off the field. And he was like, well, I used all 5 subs. Well, brother,
that was funny.
Yeah, you did, but it seemed like it was a lot of bit late there. You subbed out your wingers. You subbed out your wingers, and then you subbed out a center back. Maybe if you knew you were gonna like need to sub people out, like I know it's hard to keep Yamar out. I know he played so well, but like that's a calculus you got to think about. That's taking up 1 substitution. Christian Roldan was dead. He was dead. By the 45th minute, that man was dead. He wasn't even playing that great of a game. Like this was probably one of his weaker games this season. Like
he looks a little fatigued right now. I thought Rothrock also looked fatigued.
Rothrock did too, and I talked to him after the match, and he was like, "Dude, it was fucking hot."
Yeah,
like it was hot.
It was so hot.
I don't, and that's another thing, man. Like you just rolled out a squad who was down in Kansas City playing in excruciating heat, and then rolled them out in excruciating heat here. It is a toll on the body. It is a toll on the body to do that in 4 days, in between 4 days, right? And Brian's like, oh, well, they had an extra day off. Brother, that doesn't mean anything. You know that. Like that's a silly excuse. And so I think for one, it should have been a couple of things. Here's what I would have done. I think it should have been more rotated. I think that Christian should not have started. I think you play Obed in that double pivot and you play Danny Leyva. You keep Rusnák on the field. I think you start Jordan Morris. I think that you probably either pick Jesus Ferreira or Rothrock to play. And with Rothrock looking a little bit gassed, I probably would have put Kent on in there. And let it rip. I think that it was, and I hate to be so negative about this game, but like, and just in general, but like, this felt like it was on Brian a little bit with the substitutions and with the way that everyone was playing. Like you can talk about mental lapses, and we talked about, you know, how it is on the players at the end of the day, right? You're on the field, but you have to put your players in a position to succeed. And I don't think you're putting your players in a position to succeed by rolling out the same exact, basically starting 11, 2 games in a row in the middle of July in the summer heat with 4 days in between, 3 days, 4 days, whatever it was.
Oh, I think
that's I'm sorry. That's malpractice.
See, I don't know if I can call the starting 11 malpractice because they were absolutely, they were beating the absolute. Yes, they beat the absolute brakes off Sporting KC in through the first 50 or so minutes or whatever it was. So if that is the result of what the starting 11 you rolled out was, then I can't really argue with that. Like,
and that's
you
fair.
got
Like,
you got
that's
3 goals.
Argument.
You put yourself in great position. You put yourself in position where it's like you should win that game 100 times out of 100. Anytime you're up 3-0 at home in the second half, like you have done like task 1.
Yeah.
But I think it's about what happened after that to me. As far as Christian individually starting, I had this thought after, because we put the Danny Leyva Obed double pivot in our projected 11. And afterwards I was thinking about it. The concern I have with a Danny Leyva Obed double pivot is that you've got 2 players that are similar in skill set in that they're both like hyper technical finesse players, and they're not really like dogs, like physical presence, like Ozzy Alonso.
Obed can play that like holding D mid a little bit better than
but
Danny.
See, with the JP injury, you don't really have like
I mean, JT
a
wasn't playing
bruiser.
very well anyway, so it doesn't.
But like in terms, well, but in terms
matters.
of profile, it does matter because in terms of profile and skill set, he's more of like a bruiser, enforcer, slide tackle, like dog on defense type of guy. I worry, and like I haven't seen them play together a lot, so maybe in practice it actually would work. But I worry that a Danny Leyva Obed double pivot doesn't have like the bite and physical presence and overall defensive presence that
and maybe it doesn't.
that you kind of need from like it, well, but like if you put a double pivot out there that doesn't have those attributes, I think
then you get a 3-3.
You might be susceptible to other teams exploiting that a little bit. So
I mean, I don't think Christian played well though, so I don't even think it mattered. Like I don't think he played up to the standard that he was normally playing. I think he would tell you that. I think that he looked like he was gassed. He looked like he was tired. He was making mental mistakes. He was giving up the ball in areas that were, not great. And so if you were going to say, all right, we have Yamar back. Yamar is the type of center back who's going to step up and help in that defensive midfield if needed. Jackson's back. You have Alex, right, who's been playing center back, who can in a moment's notice kind of slide into that position as Yamar goes forward. I just don't see the need to play Christian. I really do not see it. You can assign Obed, say, brother, I know that you go forward and you're way more technical and way more all of this, but he's also a ball winner. Like he is also a ball winner. He's not a bruiser. He's not a physical beast, but like he can play that role in a more conservative way. Danny Leyva, more of a like almost like a Cam kind of situation. But they're both up and down the field, right? They can both get back. And I don't see the reason. Colorado didn't look like they were doing anything damaging in the first 45 minutes anyway. They got momentum when they were given 2 penalties. And you have to think about, okay, and hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020. I'm gonna give you that, Brian. You only know what you know. But Christian Roldan gives up that penalty kick, gives up that penalty on a mental error, on a mental lapse and mental frustration, and
that he doesn't normally make.
Exactly. And I'm gonna tell you right now, we were saying it from like minute 10. I said it from minute 10. I said Rothrock looks tired, and Christian looks tired, and the fact that both of them were not subbed out at halftime. What are we doing? I'm confused. I'm not a coach, but I was confused.
I can look back on it and be like, all right, I can see why you ran the same 11 that was beating the brakes off Colorado up 2-0 at the beginning of the second half to try and get that third goal early in the second half, which they did. They did get the goal early in the second half, and that's where I question.
They didn't sub.
That's where like to me, like with the benefit of hindsight, like you said, right after Rusnák scores that third, right there, get Christian off. Yeah. You can even get Rusnák off. You can get everyone
Rusnák
off, and
fine.
then
that dude could play 400 minutes in a week and be fine.
Yeah, it's true. He's kind of freakish like that. They're going to run him out against San Jose.
Oh, definitely. He'll play 90
on Saturday and play 90, and he'll probably be fine. But
he'll probably score 3.
Yeah, I don't. It's funny. Before this game, I issued the Sounders a challenge. I said, "Can you make it through one MLS match without one of the fullbacks getting ejected?"
And they said, "Monkey's paw curl."
But they did make it through the game without a fullback getting ejected. So I mean,
Vamos!
Great job there. Made it through. Made it through the game without a fullback getting ejected. Unfortunately, you gave up 2 penalties in 3 minutes. So, I mean, I don't know. Overall, it kind of comes down to, like, if you can correct these issues and play like you did in the first half of each of these last 2 games and not have these disciplinary mental lapses where you're getting guys thrown out and giving the other team multiple penalty kicks every single week or whatever it is, they look like a really good team. Like, in the first half. So I guess that's a positive, but just the fact that you have 2 games in a row where they went up 3-0 and then did everything in their power to relinquish the lead. And then in this case against Colorado did relinquish the lead. It's not. That's not what you want. That's not what you want.
It's not what you want.
All right, let's hit our agenda check, Noah. There's going to be some more. There's going to be some more positive. I know it's been a little bit of a negative show.
We don't like to be negative, but sometimes it has to happen.
I mean, I think 6 red cards and 5 penalties.
45 red cards and 27 penalties in 3 games. You know, you got to start to think.
I think that necessitates a little bit of critical discourse.
Yeah.
But let's get into this agenda check. We got 4 written down here. Let's check in on the Jesus Ferreira is a bust agenda, because we haven't checked in on that in a few weeks. And, you know, that's been a hot button one around here because, you know, Noah, I made my stand on this.
I
made my stand. Yeah, we both made our stand on this, which was that he hadn't scored a goal, his first Sounders goal, for a while, and he's a bust agenda was already skyrocketing to the moon in some circles. I made there's a whole video about it. I said I'm not on this. I'm not on this yet. I believe in track record. I've watched this player a lot. I think he's going to figure out his role on this team, and eventually the goals are going to start coming. And I essentially predicted that. And look, I've been patient about victory lapping, and I'm still not going to do it as we sit here today on July 17th when he has 3 MLS goals to his name. However, I will say, if we're taking the temperature of this agenda right now, my take is looking like on the trajectory to pay off, to be the correct one. He has three goals in his last 7, I believe now, because he didn't score last night, but he got the game winner against San Diego. He got the one from Rothrock against Austin, and he got the one where he and Rusnák combined in Sporting KC. So he is starting to score goals, which is great to see for the team outside of any of the agendas. But also, I thought he looked really good last night, even though he didn't get on the score sheet. I thought he looked sharp. I thought he was combining with everyone well. I thought he was making good runs. I know that people were crashing out because of the breakaway that he had saved. That's something that I view differently than some people. That's a great run.
It was
a great chance, a really good save. He put the shot on target. Those are the exact types of chances I want to see him getting. So I was encouraged to see him continuing to do that. And then, as mentioned earlier, he helps create that first goal from Rusnák through work rate, pressing Zach Steffen and forcing Zach Steffen to a split decision where he makes the error that leads to the goal. You can say that a goal like that doesn't count because it's a howler by the goalkeeper, but we talk about making your own luck a lot on this show, right? That is a perfect example of making your own luck. You force the goalkeeper into that error by pressing him and making him make that decision. And if you make him make the wrong decision and he kicks it to the middle of the field for some reason like that, you give yourself a chance at a goal. That is not just like merchanting. That is forcing the other team into a mistake that you then capitalize on. That's what good teams do. Jesus Ferreira contributed to that. So I think he's looked excellent the last 3 or 4 weeks here, and it's looking like this might actually have been a good trade after all. And I think that anyone who is being honest with themselves and actually watching what's happening in these games right now should be able to acknowledge that, even if you've been dug in on this like he's a bust thing. What do you think?
I agree. And FC Dallas sold Leo Chu, so Sounders get a sell on percentage of that, which the Sounders could never sell Leo Chu for whatever reason. So even just that bit of business, that's a W, because I think there's like a 15% sell on fee for him. So whatever FC Dallas got, bring me my money. Plus we got their best player, well, one of their best players, and I don't know, man. I think it's looking good. I'm definitely clear. Like, there's no shot I'm getting this tattoo. 2 more goals, all comps.
And there's so many games left.
There's so many games.
They played 22 games, so they got 12 league games plus Leagues Cup.
Yeah, like there's so many games. And this game specifically, I said this, I was like, I hate to be wrong, but I also love to be wrong about stuff like this because I was like, dude, he's not a winger. He's a 10. He's a 10. He's a 10. He's a 10. And while I may still think that his best position is the 10, he's really grown into his own out on the wing over there, and you can tell why he's getting starts there. Like you can tell why he's getting starts there over De La Vega and over, you know, the whole slew of other, because the entire team is wingers, but you know, over everyone else. Like he has shown that he is more talented than everyone was trying to tell me that he wasn't.
Yeah, I think that he's looked so effective in that wide channel the last few weeks and is starting to offer the end product and get his goals. It's sort of like it's part of the beauty of the player and like the type of versatility and adaptability that we both saw watching him at FC Dallas for years, and that we were hoping he could bring to this team, and it took him a while to bring to this team, admittedly. But that's kind of what's cool about him, is you can plug him in kind of anywhere on the front line, and theoretically he's going to be able to adapt to it and be effective. And I think that's what's happening right now. Like he does not play that position like a traditional like Ryan Kent or De La Vega or Paul Rothrock type winger, where he's attacking from out wide and making runs like right at people like that. But he has figured out a way to be dangerous and effective playing out there. And I was most encouraged, honestly, seeing that goal in Kansas City, where like the interplay between he and Rusnák, we talked about that a lot earlier this year. And, you know, I was saying, I think it's a situation where I would expect talent to win out at a certain point. You got two guys who are both very like high IQ players. I think they'll figure out how to play together. And it seems like,
There's a rocky road.
I was thinking about like, you know,
another
like
thing that I'm happy to be wrong about as well.
Yeah, like I was saying that hey, I don't know. I just, it's just good to see.
It's good to see. It's good, folks. It's good to see.
Yeah.
It's great to see. No, I mean, if you were like, this is what I don't understand about brigade people and just people in general who consume the team as like just like a constant negative lens of like, we're sitting here saying, listen, he's a good soccer player. He's going to figure it out. No, it's the end of the world. He's the worst thing ever. Like, who else? Like, I don't understand. What are we going to sign some other random person? Like, I don't get the hate. I don't understand it. I've never gotten it. And so I'm glad that he's proving the haters wrong.
Here's what I was going to say, which is that like, I was thinking about just the trade in general and you know, if it's going to work out. And I think we just kind of overthink these things sometimes. Like the way I was thinking about it when they first made the trade was like, oh, Jesus Ferreira. I mean, I've watched him a lot. He's good at soccer.
Mm-hmm.
He's good at it.
Correct.
If you put him on a soccer field,
he's better than Leo Chu.
If you put him on a soccer field against other soccer players, he often is going to play it better than the players that he's playing against because he is good at it.
Yeah,
that's a
foot.
lot of what you need to be factoring in when you're making these roster decisions sometimes. Like we talk so much about like tactical fit and like, is he the right position, right player, blah, blah, blah. Like sometimes if you have an opportunity to just like go get a guy who is good at soccer,
and in MLS specifically,
it is like that simple. And I think this is a case where it actually is just that simple. Next agenda. This is one from the national pundits. This is not us. We were not even talking about this because
we did make a video about this like 3 months ago, but
we haven't been. It's not like we've been sitting here beating the drum. No. This is an outrage that he's not in the discussion more. Like, you know, I get it. Lionel Messi's probably going to.
Well, you should say what the agenda is.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. It's the national pundits, Albert Rusnák, one dark horse MVP and a couple like actual MVP talk. Like this stuff is happening. It's happening. And it's not just us. I don't think it's the situation where he's going to get it. Like,
no,
I think Messi is on one of the craziest runs statistical output wise of his career right now. He had a stretch before this last game where they got destroyed where you had a brace in a league record 5 straight games, 10 goals in 5 games. So he's probably going to get it
Still
again.
good, folks.
When you're averaging 1.78 goal contributions per game for the season or whatever it is right now, like you're probably going to get it. That's fine. But like Albert Rusnák has 10 goals, 6 assists. You can say it's fake, but it's similar to a guy like Hani Mukhtar. It's not quite at the pace of like an Anders Dreyer, who's another guy in the discussion.
Or
but
Evander.
If he stays this hot, he's gonna be maybe not on the exact same pace as Dreyer or Evander, definitely not Messi, but like he's going to be in the mix, and that's the type of production that gets you in these types of national award recognition type discussions. And he should be in those discussions. He's playing fantastic right now. That first half last night was among the better halves I've seen him play. Like I thought he was a maniac out there. And you know what I thought was so funny about his game last night was that he scored the open netter off the Zach Steffen mistake, and that of course instantly it doesn't count. Like
everyone in the press box, me and Ari turn to each other, doesn't count, and Jeremiah.
But then you look at Twitter and Blue Sky, and it's like, oh, he has to have the open net. Like, like I think you had a post about the.
I asked the brigade if it counted, and they said it did.
They said it didn't.
They said it didn't count.
Yeah, exactly. But what was so funny about that is literally like, not that long later, right after the second half starts, he scores just an absolutely disgusting, like
opens
across
his
the
hips,
box,
through the legs, classic Albert Rusnák goal. As Brian Schmetzer would say, literally he got asked about it in the presser, and he goes, this is his favorite line when talking about Albert scoring, he goes, classic Albert Rusnák goal.
It was, and the great thing about when he scores those is you can like see it before it happens.
We literally, we were like,
I wanted to yell at Zach Steffen, like, go to the other side right now, go, because he's gonna hit it right there, and he's going to score that. Tell me what didn't count about the quality on that finish. That was sick.
That was a great goal.
And he also gets the assist on the Obed goal. So again, he's up to 10 and 6. And, outside of brigade and agenda talking points, if you really want to contend for silverware and trophies in this league, you need your DPs and your centerpieces to be producing. That's step one. And he is in some of the best form of his Sounders career right now. And it's fantastic to see.
I think he'll go down at the end of the day as one of the better Sounders DPs, and that's just that. And you know what? People might not like it, but that's kind of the truth, right? Like, I think he is not the bust that everyone wants to pretend that he is. Like,
let's be fair. It's not everyone. It is a very small vocal minority.
Yeah. Not everyone.
I think it's gotten to the point where the vast majority of the fan base respects and loves and appreciates him.
Yeah, it's hard to.
But it was funny. You were still seeing it last night. Do people ever get tired of like the mental gymnastics?
I
would get tired of every time he does something like that, having to be like, oh, it doesn't count because his open that pass wasn't actually that good. I would get tired of that.
I don't understand what more you should ask for.
Yeah, you should just be a fan of the guy. Like, it's a lot easier.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell him. I don't know what to tell him, Ari. I don't know. 10 goals, 5 assists.
6. Let's hit our
6 assists.
De La Vega stock check. He doesn't start this game, which I thought he would. We projected he would. And he gets on as a substitute when the game is like in the balance there after the 2 PKs. I actually thought he looked all right, but I think what it is a situation where, and I think a few Sounder at Heart people pointed this out, but it's like he's the kind of player like who isn't really effective as a super sub. Like he's got to start to find the game, get into the game, and then make his impact when he's like had the time to find his footing and establish himself. That seems pretty clear to me that's when he's at his most effective compared to coming off the bench cold. Yeah. So I thought last night was among the better that he has looked lately, but my thing with De La Vega just overall right now is like, we get caught up in how we rate players, how I rate this guy versus that guy. Like, is he not producing because of how good he is, or is it the coaching staff's fault? Ultimately, for me, I'm not evaluating it. I'm not doing the evaluation on any of that, like the subjective nature of how I rate a player versus how someone else rates a player versus how Schmetz rates a player. Is Schmetz giving him enough opportunity to make an impact? I'm evaluating it on what the production is at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, it's 1 goal, 4 assists in 1,400 some odd minutes over the past 2 years. It just is what it is. Like, if you want to say that Schmetz is underrating him and suppressing him, and he would be he has the talent to be producing more if he was given more opportunities or more runs, and the coaches aren't giving that to him. Or if you're saying like Craig Weib's whiffed, this guy just isn't really that good, that's why he's not getting minutes and not producing. That doesn't matter. It does, like, that's not what I'm talking about with this. And I think my takes, I feel like, have gotten twisted a little bit of like, oh, like, you're saying that De La Vega isn't good, when in reality it's like the coaches who aren't giving him the opportunity. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about 1 goal, 4 assists for his MLS career while taking up a DP spot. I fully believe that he is a talented. I know he's a talented player. We've seen in flashes how good and dynamic and flat out electric he can be on the ball and eliminating defenders. And he's the assists that he has picked up in both in league play and in CCC, where I thought he looked really encouraging in the Antigua series at the beginning of the season. But just as it stands right now, you got your number 10 DP that you spent $7 million on, like, as a bit player, like a role player on the team, with like overall production that doesn't match what he got paid for. So that's just what it is.
It's bad.
It's not
very bad.
It's not ideal.
It's not ideal. It's not good. It's not bad. And he's not playing well. He's not playing well at all. He hasn't been playing well. And I don't have the solution to it. I don't think anyone has. If anyone had the solution to it, they would be doing that and it'd be fixed. And to the people who, I had some people in my mentions like, you don't understand. Pedro de la Vega is actually, statistically speaking, just as good as Paul Rothrock, but he never is able to get on the field. And then immediately Paul Rothrock scored in that game, which was awesome. And I just said, anyway, it's the reality of the situation that you can put 11 players on the field at one time. And what you're going to do is always put the best 11 players that give you a chance to win. I'm not saying that if Pedro de la Vega didn't get to run the rust out and, do all of that and like really like cement his position, that he wouldn't be able to figure it out. But he got that opportunity. He got that opportunity early in the year and he didn't win his position. He didn't. He's been injured. He's been, he's played poorly when he's gotten minutes. Yes, maybe he is not a come off the bench player, but then you have to earn your starts, and he's not earning his starts. And Paul Rothrock is by far and away outplaying him in this league and the way that this league is set up. Jesus Ferreira by far and away outplaying him in this league. I don't know what to say. Like, I think he's a great player, super talented, but it's undeniable to say that like his stock is at the lowest it's ever been. Like, it's at a sell now type of vibe. Sell now before it gets worse type of vibe. And I don't, he's not a DP. If you want to talk about a wasted DP spot, right there. I mean, it's hamstringing you. It really is. And I think that they have to be thinking about moving him. They have to. And I was saying this at the beginning of the season that I'm like, I don't really buy into the Pedro de la Vega hype. And everyone was hyping him up and calling me crazy, calling me names and saying, this is why we signed Pedro de la Vega. Because he had those flashes. He did.
He looked
Remember the
so
goal he
good.
scored against
Yes.
Antigua?
Banger.
I was like, all right, here we go.
Banger.
Here we go.
And then I said, listen, let's wait. Let's wait till it bears out. Let's wait till it plays out. We got to see this. We got to see this over a longer sample size. And when it came to it, it just wasn't it. And he isn't it. And you know what? Maybe it's the team. Maybe it's the coach. Maybe it's the city. Maybe it's whatever.
It doesn't matter what
it doesn't
is.
matter what it is. If you're
like,
looking at the reality,
yeah.
it's bad. It's bad right now. It's bad.
And I mean, on that note, I'll say thank freaking God they got Jesus Ferreira.
Yes.
Thank freaking God. Where would they be on with a week in, week out starting 11 right now if they hadn't traded for that guy? Like, let's be real.
Yeah. I mean, seriously, it'd be
because
maybe Paul on that side and Ryan Kent. I don't know.
Who, by the way, I mean, we should point out that like we were the main purveyors of the he's the greatest player alive agenda, and his cameo was not
lackluster.
good.
Yeah.
So that's a whole separate issue. That's a little lower stakes though, because he's not like on a DP spot. If that one doesn't work out, it's like
he's a short term.
You took a shot. He looked like the second coming of Lionel Messi and Christ combined for his first 3 games in MLS, and then didn't really do much after that. That's where that situation appears to be headed.
There's a lot more games to play for him.
I still have my Ryan Kent stock.
I'm not selling, Ari.
I'm
not selling.
I believe in what I saw versus St. Louis City SC and the Houston Dynamo. Okay, I like that's one where I'm like, oh man, you see like such quality there in individual moments, but unfortunately we didn't really see it last
even in
night.
the moments when Ryan Kent is not like working. He has a style. He has a confidence. He has a place. He has a very like manageable and coachable style of play to where it's like you know what you're getting out of him. I have no clue what Pedro de la Vega does. I don't understand his positioning. I don't understand his mindset. He's just this chaotic agent of chaos that's not actually doing anything. He's like he can like do some defensively nice things, but like sometimes he's like just getting forward. He's like his crossing has just gone away. He's skying all of his shots. He's not settled at all. Like I don't know. Like at least with Ryan Kent, it's like he's getting dispossessed while trying to dribble 10 guys. Like that's, like he's doing his bit at least. It's consistently his bit. Pedro de la Vega doesn't even have a bit. His bit is just being below average. And you know what? Honestly, I'm just going to say it because there's been a lot of people who keep telling me, no, he's not playing that bad. I thought he actually played fine in this game. I don't know what you guys are seeing. I really don't. First of all, I really like Pedro de la Vega. One, as a person, he seems like the coolest possible dude to hang out with. Like I would love to drink mate with him. 2, I want him to work out more than anyone wants him to work out. Like I want our players to be successful. But dude, it's bad. He's bad. He's not playing well. He's not. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm done pretending. I'm done pretending. I'm done giving the credence.
I mean, regardless, it's going to be one of the big storylines, subplots for the rest of the season. Like we mentioned earlier, there are a lot of games left, and they've got Leagues Cup, where I think in Leagues Cup, I have to imagine Schmetz won't roll out the classic first choice starting 11 every single Leagues Cup game. So I think both De La Vega and Ryan Kent are going to get their minutes in those contexts, and let's see what they make of them. I'm going to keep an open mind. I'm not going to condemn anybody, either one of them, to bust status yet. I'm going to wait till the end of the season and make my final evaluation on all these guys, on Ferreira, Ryan Kent, and Pedro de la Vega, and we'll see at that point. But right now, I mean, the agenda stock is not hot. Real quick at the end here, I'm on a little bit of a time crunch at this point.
We'll hit the ad break and just roll into the news stuff.
All right, let's hit the ad break right now, and then we'll wrap it up with a couple news items and then other results from around the league. We'll be right back.
Want to go deeper with Lobbing Scorchers? Scratch under the surface, get down even dirtier than we already get. Become a YouTube member. Sometimes things just get a little too spicy, a little too weird, and a little too loose for the general public. And you know, the people to see that are YouTube members. We're talking about exclusive bonus videos, the podcast after show, exclusive written content, and little bits and pieces of information before the unwashed masses know about it. As a member, you not only get access to all of this amazing content, you get a badge next to your name and a slew of amazing emotes to use, not only in our live stream chat, but also in our comment section. And yes, we do have an emote for Jesus Ferreira, Ghost Snack, and Paul Rothrock. This is the best way to help keep us independent and keep us building out this crazy YouTube brand that we call Lobbing Scorchers. Hit the join button down below or hit the link in the top of our description if you're on mobile to join the ranks and become a Lobbing Scorchers YouTube member. You didn't skip the ads because I'm sitting next to you right now and holding your eyelids open. Because if you skipped our ads,
Don't skip the ads.
don't skip. I can't even say it on the podcast. They won't let me anymore.
Couple news items to hit before we jump around the league. The as reported by Sounder at Heart
And The Athletic.
The Athletic first, and then Sounder independently confirmed by
Correct.
Sounder at Heart. The Club World Cup bonus issue has been finalized. The players, after their protest regarding the Club World Cup bonuses, end up getting 40% more than they were previously making, $400K in total. So that brings it to $1.4 million that they will split between themselves. So they end up getting a boost of the bag, which it's honestly, it's not as much of a boost as it should have been if we were actually going on like the merits of what the split is between the guys who are actually playing the games and the panel of oligarchs who put on the tournament. But I guess when I reflect on the whole Club World Cup protest saga, I'm glad they did it, because pretty much all of us have been in a situation where the oligarch class is like would never pay you more.
No.
Ever. And we live in a society right now where
We live in a society
where like the cost of being alive and just basic day-to-day functioning and necessities gets exponentially more expensive by the year, by the month in some cases. And the oligarch class will never pay any normal people more to accommodate that fact. So it was a little satisfying watching a group of people, and like the normal people have no agency over that. You can't do anything. Though you say, hey, can you pay me more? And the oligarch class says, fuck you. No. It was pretty satisfying to watch a group of people that actually do have agency be like, no, you are going to pay us more. Like, this is blatantly BS, and you're ignoring us on it. We're not going to be ignored. We're going to make funny shirts about it. We're going to clown our boss while he's sitting next to the FIFA oligarchs, to the point where he's going to crash out at us in the locker room. And you know, every single oligarch that has ever existed in that situation, if they sense like the employee is getting out of line, they love being like, okay, you feel that way, you're fired. You know that Hanauer, like if this was like,
he
he
was trying.
Well, if this was the frame shop and someone did that, he would fire them. He wouldn't have a second thought about it. Guess what? You can't fire your players.
Fire them.
You can't. You literally
buddy.
can't. They are your moneymaker, and they know it, and they use that against you, and they got $400K out of it, which is not as much as it should have been. But I thought it was great.
How embarrassing of Adrian Hanauer to belittle his own employees over $400,000. How poor are you, Adrian? How disgustingly, incredibly poor are you? First of all, pay all your employees more. You're a coward. You're a coward. For $400K, you're going to go yell at people? Damn, that's crazy. Me personally, I wouldn't be yelling at people over $400K, but I guess I just guess I got it like that better than you. I don't know. I don't know, Ari. I don't know. He's just saying $400K.
If I had that much money, I just wouldn't care. I don't know. I've never had like generational obscene wealth, so I can't like relate to it. But
Probably really fucks with
must,
you with
yeah,
your
it must
vision.
it must honestly like do something with your brain.
Yeah.
And I've alluded to it before, but like it's not it's not just Hanauer, the whole oligarch class. They have
Correct.
zero.
It was
zero.
the whole panel of MLS oligarchs.
It's people who have zero concept of what, like Adrian Hanauer is literally not for 1 second in his life ever been like, oh, how am I going to pay rent? How am I going to pay?
Yeah, he's never had to think.
He's never had to do that. So it's just
car.
like there's just like a fundamental disconnect there. But
yeah,
anyway, they got their 400K, so that was good news in my opinion. Another big news story from around Major League Soccer: Inter Miami are getting Rodrigo de Paul. It looks like that's happening. Atletico Madrid superstar, Argentina national team World Cup winner. One of it's not technically a Barca boy because he plays for Atletico Madrid right now, or before going to Inter Miami.
Yeah,
but it's essentially another Barca boy.
Yep.
They're adding to the Barca boy stable, but I think the question here is, it's an example. They already have Busquets, Jordi Alba, Messi, and Luis Suarez. Yeah. So it's like, how are they getting Rodrigo
Suarez is TAM, I think.
On the basically there's a lot of talk about something nefarious being afoot and how they're able to get this player. All right, let's talk about that real quick, just because I mean, if there is something nefarious going on, I'm not saying that there is or isn't, but can you explain what that is? Because
absolutely, I would love to, Ari. I would love to.
Okay, can I just
lay the groundwork?
Lay the groundwork for how I see it. Sergio Busquets is on a DP deal that is coming off the books, like in the winter transfer window. They got Rodrigo de Paul on loan from Atletico Madrid with a purchase option, not on a DP slot right now. When Busquets's DP deal expires in the winter transfer window, at that point they're in all likelihood going to trigger the purchase option. Busquets will no longer be one of the DPs. Rodrigo de Paul will. I get that it's tilting. Because it feels like they can just stack any player on the global stage that they want with no repercussions, that other teams that are beholden to the roster rules or whatever, like they can't do that. And I understand where the frustration comes from. I think there's an element to this, man, that it's just like that. This is the type of stuff that you can do, like when you get Messi on your team, like that. It's like other teams would be doing stuff like this if they could.
Oh, they did,
but they can't.
Yeah, they're not allowed to because they're not Inter Miami, and they're not trying
to.
All right,
explain the conspiracy,
dude. In 2019, the LA Galaxy signed Christian Pavone. Do you remember this?
Yep.
It was basically the same exact thing, where he was a TAM player, quote unquote, and then other parts of his agreement were not included in the payments. And so in 2022, the LA Galaxy were sanctioned because he should have been a DP and was going to be a DP. They were fined $1 million. They lost $1 million in GAM. They were banned from whatever. And also very funny that this happened. And then Inter Miami did the same thing, but got fined less. Or I guess they didn't get fined less.
They did famously have 5 DPs.
They had famously 5 DPs. And I'm just saying, this 24th. Is, you can't sign a player on loan and be like, oh no, it's fine, he's TAM, but like you're in agreement.
You can though. That's what I'm saying.
You're in agreement to make it. He's going to be a DP once the other DP comes off the books. Is that not playing the goddamn system? And they're just going to pay him more in the later part to make his salary whole, and they're going to end up paying him the same amount. If we're going to, I don't have a problem with trying to bend the rules and do all of this, but the reality is, man, they're bending the rules. They're playing a dangerous game that that the league, if they are actually being genuine and they do want to protect their own product, what they would do is be like, no, you can get the other guy off the books and then put Rodrigo de Paul on. But they're not even pretending like the rules even matter anymore. And if they don't matter anymore, awesome. Add another DP spot. But you know why they won't do it? It's because the cheap ass, poor ass owners don't want to add another DP spot. So they can't vote for it and all of this. So basically it's MLS's way of allowing something they know is like one toe over the boundary, that they have fined people for in the past, that they have gotten people in trouble for in the past, but they want the league to move forward with spending. So they're allowing it to happen, and they're allowing it to happen as well because Messi is involved, and they want Messi to stay happy and they want him to stay here, which as a business, can you really blame them? Absolutely not. But if we're being real, if we're being honest here, this is basically cheating. This is basically bending the rules to the point where you have an unfair advantage. And okay, that's fine. They're probably still not going to win anything, so I don't care. But it's pretty funny. I mean, it's pretty funny to pretend like this isn't bending the rules at the least.
Okay. Can you? I'm honestly asking. Like, what is bending the rules about a loan with a purchase option? I've seen that a million times.
Absolutely, but his salary is TAM right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When he signs his next agreement, when they make the purchase on the loan, like they weren't going to buy him anyway, they're basically just saying, hey, loan us this player. We guarantee we're going to purchase him regardless. And then
it is a loophole.
That's
100%.
a loophole. That's what I'm saying.
But I guess
it's a loophole.
I don't know. I'm really not trying to like.
That's what also LAFC did this as well.
Yeah, like there's been like the Sounders got a loophole with Clint Dempsey.
No, the league bought Clint Dempsey and changed the rules on allocation money because of it. If they want to change the rules, they can change the rules. I'm fine with that. But don't do this bullshit. Don't do this bullshit and pretend like it isn't pushing and prodding and putting other teams at a disadvantage. Because if this is the truth, I think that the Sounders should sign every single player to a contract with Ballard FC, buy Ballard FC, and then just loan everyone for $1. You could have a super team. Why not? There's a purchase option incled.
Now we're cooking.
They just don't have to do it. They just don't have to execute it, you know? Because if you take it to its logical conclusion, which is I'm just going to loan an entire team to myself, or like City Football Group loaning a bunch of players to New York City FC so they can win another title. Come on, man. That's bullshit. That's fucking bullshit. That's where I stand on it.
Either way, there is another Barca boy in the fold, which is I mean, you know, it is what it is. It is like I see what you're saying. I also like when I look at the situation that they're in, which is a very unique situation where you have the greatest player of all time on your team and all the leeway and pull that comes with that.
They're already paying him out of the league's pocket. He's getting a cut of every single fucking TV dollar. They don't need to give them any more advantage. Don't let them do this.
But like, if I was in their position and had the ability to leverage the situation that they're in, I don't know if I can sit here and say I wouldn't do the same thing.
Jorge Mas should be imprisoned. That's all I have to say. Put him in jail. That's how I want to end this show.
That's a good agenda. All right. Yeah. Real quick before we get out of here, I did want to just run down some of these results that we saw last night, because there was like Seattle took a bad result. A lot of teams took bad results last night. It was just, I'm not even pointing that out to like ease or to cope. It was just kind of remarkable. San Diego FC, top of the Western Conference, Supporter Shield contenders, best expansion season of all time, played some of the best footy we've ever seen from an expansion side, absolutely destroyed Seattle. Anders Dreyer, MVP candidate. I could keep going. They're having an absolutely phenomenal season. They lost their second straight game at home last night to Toronto FC.
Who?
They lost to Toronto FC, one of the worst teams in the league,
famously with like no home. DPs right now.
So that is a worse result than Seattle took. The Portland Timbies, second straight loss. They lose 1-0 at home to Real Salt Lake after losing to St. Louis City SC on the road in
Can't
their
lose to
previous
those two
game.
teams, sorry.
So they lost. The Timbies in their last 2 games have lost to one of the worst teams in the league and at home to an RSL team that's below the playoff line. Those are worse results than Seattle just took. The Columbus Crew, a club that we have praised to no end on this show. Wilfred Nancy, our favorite coach in the league, the best coach in the league. They play some of the best, most aesthetically pleasing footy in the league. Absolutely waxed 3-0 at Nashville SC.
It was the jorts.
Absolutely
It
destroyed.
was the jorts.
That is a worse result than what Seattle took. Minnesota United, second place in the West, ahead of Seattle in the standings, a club that Seattle's chasing right now. They lose 1-0 at home at Allianz Field to LAFC.
Undefeated since Hello Kitty came around, just saying.
Yeah, LAFC, God, I can't believe you have that thing. LAFC are, a Western Conference contender. They're in the mix for the top 4 spots in their own right. But Minnesota United, under Eric Ramsey, they've been one of the hottest teams in the league lately. They lose at home. So that's another worse result than Seattle took. And then Inter Miami, Messi and the Barca boys themselves. Messi was out there, and it was the whole gang at TQL against FC Cincinnati, 3-0.
Skyline Chili.
So that is 5 clubs right there who are all like Seattle in the thick of fighting for the top seeds in their respective conferences, and they all have trophy aspirations. They all took fat L's. In the case of Minnesota United, they only lost 1-0, but they got shut out by LAFC at home and lost against in like a measuring stick game. So really, I don't, like I said, I don't bring that up as cope. I mean, it is cope a little bit. It is definitely cope, but it's also just like kind of felt like everyone who's
July, baby.
Yeah, it's July and MLS.
July.
That's sort of what I was getting at.
Yeah,
like this kind of stuff does happen. It was not just the Seattle Sounders that fell victim to it, but there is a lens through which that makes it almost even more frustrating, because Seattle was up 3-0 in their game and looked like they were cruising to a victory, and then self-inflicted wounds led to them dropping the points, and it didn't need to happen.
Yeah,
whereas you look at these other games, and I mean, there's a few 1-0s in there, but like 1-0 to Toronto, 1-0 to RSL, Minnesota 1-0 at home at LAFC. It's tough. It's tough. So that was my observation from the midweek slate.
As Brian said, this was a draw that felt like a loss, and even more so with looking at the results around the league, because you had an opportunity to take meaningful points in a time when chaos does ensue. And so it sucks. Like you really want to have a home playoff game. You want to have a home playoff game. And so
I think you got to.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, last year they did get top 4 in the West, and they were able to make it to the Western Conference final, but had to play that on the road.
Mm-hmm.
If you gotta charge as hard as you can at for the 2 spot and try and keep these games at home if at all possible. And with the Whitecaps kind of fading, Minnesota losing, San Diego's lost 2 straight, there's still some separation there, but there is
the gap can be closed.
This gap can be closed, and it sucks. They missed the opportunity to pick up 2 crucial points in that race last night, but a lot of games left. So they have there's a chance to make up this ground here as they get set for the Quakes on Saturday. All right, we're going to call it right there for this episode of Lobbing Scorchers. As always, thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate all the love and support we've been getting, the growth that we've been seeing. That's all thanks to you guys, the listeners and the viewers. So thank you for that.
LobbingScorchers.com/sauce, LobbingScorchers.com/archive, LobbingScorchers.com/ just LobbingScorchers.com, and then scroll down to subscribe.
SounderandHeart.com/LS.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
We will be back.
YouTube.
Yeah, please sub to the YouTube. We've got a lot of credibility on Instagram, and we're slowly accruing credibility on TikTok. But let's get these YouTube subs. Let's keep them churning. If you haven't subbed to the channel yet, please do so. It really helps us out. And like all our videos, we will be back at it on Saturday. I'm going to do my best to fire up a post game live that evening. We'll see if that happens. Could be on Sunday, but we'll be back at it with the post-game live. Nico Moreno and I, Lobbing Scorchers kickoff Monday at 8 a.m. Thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, we out.
Peace.